Entering the Mayo Experience.
Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience. We got to do one more show before we unleash the top 200 PPR rankings overall at every position. If you hit the description of this video or in the comment section, you can find each of the position breakdowns I did with Jake Seeley to get the order, the first look order of where I wanted them. Now I have Chris Meaney in studio to talk about how to piece these all together, where mistakes may rest.
Yes.
And I know you're of the Athletic. I mean, you still do rankings.
Yeah, I do.
So I'm curious to see, because, you talk to Jake all the time.
Yes.
I want to see if you're on the same page with Jake, because, I tried to veer off a little bit, although Jake's super accurate, so it's tough to go too off course.
I know. It's, when you have a guy that you feel different about with Jake, it's like, it's fun to have that argument with him and that discussion, and then after you're just like, am I completely wrong here? Because Jake's always right, and he wasn't around for last week's show. And Brad Ziegler and I did the show at the Athletic, and we just ripped apart his rankings and projections without him there behind his back. So waiting for the response, for him to justify them after.
I'm convinced Jake doesn't watch this show unless he's on it.
Sure.
So we can just go to town on Jake.
Fair enough. That's why I'm here.
Yeah, of course. If people want to get into a draw for 20 DK bucks, there are myriad ways that you can do this. Smash the like button for the episode. Leave your DraftKings handle in the comment section and give me your top 10 players overall for PPR scoring for the upcoming 2019 fantasy football season. Way 2 to do it. Subscribe, rate, and review the Pat Mayo Experience podcast, iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, wherever. 5 stars, DraftKings handle, something you like about the show. Or follow me on Instagram at @ThePME. See one of the football posts that are up there. Give it a quick heart. Leave your DraftKings handle in the comment section. Boom. You're in the draw for 20 DK bucks as well. Winners will be announced on next Monday's show. Start with running backs.
Let's do it.
I have these still separated in tiers. If people want to check out my full tiered rankings, I have my V1 version of it. It's like V.5. Okay. The official rankings haven't come out yet. I put up my preliminary list. They're all up on DKPlaybook.com. If you click on one of the articles, you can just click through it, find all the positions. So I got Ezekiel Elliott, number 1. Saquon Barkley at number 2, Christian McCaffrey at number 3, Alvin Kamara at number 4. That was my tier 1. Do you think those 4 guys are isolated by themselves?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I do. You could really make a case for Zeke and Barkley, I guess, maybe alone. But those are the 4. And Zeke is number 1 for me. I just think he's the safest.
I think he's the problem is when you start drafting, he's the safest. And you can point to everything that goes on. A new offensive coordinator in Dallas, maybe he doesn't see, because one of the big knocks against him last year was, is he going to see that target volume that you want? Yeah. And I was like, of course not. He never gets it. Then he got it. Yeah. It was like, oh, but now we're expecting him to get it. And if it regresses back the other way and he goes back to old Zeke, if the touchdowns don't come along with it, then he's going to underperform.
And that was the one thing, I guess, the one knock on him last year is he didn't get those touchdowns. But the first couple of years of his career, it was, basically a touchdown per game. It was, you knew what you were getting. You were getting 100 yards and a touchdown, or 100 yards, 120 yards, and a couple catches. But when they got Amari Cooper, his target share went up. He had 7.5 targets compared to around 3.5, and his catches went up too. He basically doubled his catches. So, if you're looking at just last season and you look at without Amari Cooper and with Amari Cooper, you would honestly just on the outside think, well, he's not going to get all those catches. Amari Cooper is going to get all those catches and targets. It probably went down. It went up. They used him a little bit more in the passing game.
Yeah, he was just under 100 targets overall. He was 95. And if he can stay in that realm, then he's going to be the number 1 fantasy running back, assuming he can hit double digits in touchdowns this year. Maybe teams are going to be a bit savvier this time around. Be like, you know what? When Dallas gets in close, Dak might keep it. I'm just saying. I'm throwing this out there. He might keep it. Pay attention to that. Yeah. And if they shut that down, then all of a sudden you're turning around and handing the ball off to Zeke again.
Yeah, exactly. So I just think, we laugh about Amari Cooper, and I think I was on the show with you when we talked about Cooper, and then hours later he got dealt. We were laughing at the reports about it first, and we joked around about it. But really, hindsight, that was a really good move for Dallas. They needed somebody to throw the ball to. Really. They didn't have anybody, and teams just stacked the box with Zeke.
How dare you besmirch Cole Beasley like that? Or Michael Gallup.
Yeah,
Alan Hearns.
and yeah, I mean, maybe Gallup takes a step forward this year, and in year two, and
Yeah,
having top coverage.
I'm still not drafting Amari Cooper.
No, me neither. Like, he's set up to disappoint, and now it's every year with him. Like, he's a borderline wide receiver 1 in terms of ADP. Like, that's how people are drafting him. I don't want him. I want Zeke. That's the guy I want.
Oh, I mean, I definitely want to, but then that's the first overall pick.
Yeah, you just have to play.
So with the first 4 picks of the draft, because when we start like combining all these positions together to get the overall rankings, first 4 picks off the board are these 4 guys, or would you throw in a receiver?
No.
What do you think about Travis Kelce at number 5?
I think it's too early.
That's too much. Too much. Would you go like Melvin Gordon? Because I have Melvin Gordon next in my rankings.
Yeah.
Would he go 5, or would it be like Hopkins?
I'd go back and forth, actually. It depends on your setting. I could do Hopkins at 5 for sure.
I
personally would go with the backs.
Would you go Melvin though, or would it be like Bell? Would it be Connor?
I
Mixon,
would go
Cook, Chubb?
I would go Bell and then Gordon, and then I'm starting to think about the wide receivers over guys like Connor and Mixon.
I feel like
Cook
people are
and Chubb.
sleeping on Connor.
Connor's actually probably going to be he's probably going to continue to fall down with all the reports that are coming out. Like, especially when you hear from him, like it's going to be a running back by committee. And then the offensive coordinator who dealt with Samuels, like he was their tight end coach, is now running the offense there in Pittsburgh. So are they going to use him a little bit more? They draft it back. Like, what are they going to do? How's the offense going to run without Antonio Brown? Like, there's a lot of question marks in Pittsburgh this year, but I think for the most part, what we saw every time we did a show on Monday, Connor always had like 95% of the snaps.
Yeah, whenever he was healthy, he was the guy who was getting the ball over and over and over. And it's been a common theme with Pittsburgh throughout the years that whoever the guy is, he gets the ball. There's no goal line vulture who comes in. And even if you knock him down from like 95% of the snaps to 70% of the snaps, he's still going to be really good.
Absolutely. He's still definitely going to be an RB1. So I think out of all the guys in this top range, like the top 10 running backs, I feel like he's starting to decline a little bit, and people are talking about him in a negative way. But my problem with Kelce is, and we did a mock at the Athletic, and Kelce, I think he was like the second pick in the second.
I'd take him there.
And I'm fine with that. But I don't want people taking, like, you can't take him over guys like Hopkins and Julio, and because he's never going to have the catches and yards like that.
I see. Here's the thing.
He's not going to have 1,400 yards.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I mean, he could. If it depends on the Tyreek Hill suspension. We don't know.
He needs Tyreek Hill.
I don't know if he needs Tyreek Hill.
I think
the efficiency will go down, the volume will go up, and the touchdown opportunity will go up.
A little bit of a wash. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, he's been the number 1 tight end or a top 3 tight end 3 consecutive years.
Yeah.
And with Garoppolo coming back and San Francisco adding a bunch of pieces, the backfield getting healthy, and then adding Tevin Coleman, maybe George Kittle doesn't quite reach the upside that he did last year. Maybe he takes a step back. Yeah. With Ertz, now you have Deshaun Jackson, and Ertz is more of a PPR play over standard anyway, and we're talking PPR, but it feels like he has a cap on what he's going to do. Kelce, we don't know, but he is the number 1 tight end. Yeah. And he could be the number 1 tight end by such a significant margin that is the gap between Hopkins and, let's say, Mike Evans, the same as Kelce to Kittle. And if that's the case, then Kelce becomes the best value on the board because you get him at a premium position. Yeah. He can compete. Like when Jake and I went through this, we ranked, if we threw out tight end and put Kelce into the wide receiver pool, I believe we had him ranked at 8th.
And that makes sense. Like you view him as a wide receiver 1. Yeah, his team.
But he gets to play tight end, which is a huge advantage.
It is a huge advantage. You're right. Like, I'm not going to say anything negative about Kelce. He does need Tyreek Hill, though. Like, if there's reports, Hill 4 games, 8 games, whatever. I don't know what it's going to be, but if it is 8 games.
Well, The Athletic came out and said that it's going to be a maximum of 4 games. We'll see if you're fake news or not.
I can't say anything negative about that, but, Zeke got 6 games? It seems like 4 would be great for him and great for the Chiefs and great for Kelce and everybody else in this offense. But all of a sudden, if it's 8 games, all of a sudden you're without Tyreek Hill and opposing defenses are just going to attack Kelce. That's it. Like, Sammy Watkins hasn't been able to have a full season since his rookie year. And who else are we talking about?
We're talking about super caveman rookie, Cole, hard man.
Yeah, everybody loves him. And fine, sure, you should like him because it's the offense is great.
Yeah, that's an opportunity play, though. Yeah. And if Hill comes back, he's probably kind of useless, isn't he? Unless Watkins gets hurt.
So I would go Hopkins, Adams, Michael Thomas, Julio, and then I would think about Kelce. Then you could go maybe as a wide receiver 5.
Yeah, but I'm not. The whole point is that you don't play him at wide receiver,
right?
And that the gap between the wide receivers isn't as pronounced as the gap at tight end, just making him so valuable. It's like if in years past, like, and even this year, this is why the running backs are back to being 1, 2, 3, and 4 instead of wide receivers being up there. Because for years, half the league, you could find a bell cow running back to mine your volume from that made the gap between running back 3 and running back 16 not all that pronounced. And now at receiver, we're kind of seeing the same thing. Is the gap between Hopkins, I would even say Mike Evans. Got Mike Evans at number 10. Let's say all the way down to Stefan Diggs at like number 16. What is the gap in fantasy points between those two? What's that opportunity cost between Kelsey and all the other tight ends? If you're convinced Kelsey's going to be good, which I am. Yeah. That's where it kind of leads in. 5 seems a bit too high. I'm with you. But like, would I go Hopkins? Yeah. Would I go Adams? Yeah. Maybe after that.
And then
Then I think the tight end eligibility outweighs Michael Thomas being awesome.
Sure.
I think they're both fine picks.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think you bring up a good point when you're looking, because there is a gap between Julio Jones and Stephon Diggs, and it's pretty significant.
Okay,
really.
So but where does that, like, if we go to, is there a huge gap between Julio and like Juju? I have them all in the same tier. I don't think there is.
No, I don't think that there is either.
How about Julio and Keenan Allen?
Slightly, yeah,
but not
a bunch.
Is it as big as the gap between Kelsey and Kittle?
I don't think. I don't think that there's that big. I agree that Kittle is probably going to regress, but I don't think that there's that big of a gap between the two. I mean, we're talking about Kelsey. Like, all three had tight end seasons to remember. They all broke records. Like, Ertz had the most catches ever from a tight end. He finished top 5 in targets. Kelsey had the most yards ever from a tight end, and then an hour later, Kittle broke that record. So, like, all three of them, I think, are in a tier of their own. I don't think there's that huge of a gap. And there's also that next tier that can't quite get on that level. That's why I don't draft.
That's such an iffy level, though.
It's not. It's not that iffy.
I love O.J. Howard. The guy is a walking
Put
triage.
Ingram in there and put a Hunter Henry in there.
He is a walking triage unit. The guy is constantly hurt. Hunter Henry?
Sure. There's some question marks, obviously, but I'm more willing to...
And I have no question about Kelsey. As long as he is healthy, I don't care if they quadruple fucking team him. That he's going to be awesome.
Yeah. I just feel like, for me, I would rather just take that wide receiver instead of taking Kelsey at the end of the first or the early second, and you could even get Ertz in the third if you wanted to get a piece of that.
I don't want Ertz in the third. That's too high. That's too high for Ertz, because he's not doing what he did last year. That's not happening again.
It could be close. He could be similar than that. Why not?
It could be close.
I mean, 15 of his last 16 touchdowns have been in the red zone. Like, he's always in the top in red zone targets. He's going to be the poke point of that offense in the red zone. He's the number one option in that offense. There's no question.
They have Deshaun Jackson now and Jordan Howard.
Jordan Howard catching balls out of the backfield. And Deuce Staley wondering why Chicago never used him. Yeah, I mean,
how do you feel about Sanders? Do you have any read on this backfield, or just don't draft any of them?
Yeah, it's the same. It's you and I have talked about this numerous times.
But what if one of them has a really good week 1? They're the guy, right?
Yeah, Jordan Howard will be the starter week 1. He will have the most touches out of that backfield the first couple of weeks.
Is Darren Sproles still on the roster?
He's not.
Okay, because he'll somehow end up leading them in fantasy points.
And they still have Clement on the roster. Still have Smallwood on the roster. I'm sure there's one guy that they're going to cut. But yeah, Sanders right now is behind the quote unquote behind the 8 ball because he's hurt and he's not learning the playbook. And Deuce Staley's out there raving about Jordan Howard and how he can catch balls in the backfield with the best of backs in the league.
That is not true.
They're going to rotate through all of these guys.
I said that the Athletic may be fake news. It does sound like Deuce Staley does sound like he's fake news.
Yeah, that's fake news. I was doing the research on, not to get sidetracked on the Eagles' backs, but I was doing the research, and you know this too, working with you over the past few years, is there's only been 2 running backs to have 20 carries in Doug Peterson's 4 years. Is
Josh Adams not there anymore?
Adams is one of them.
I was going to say, remember when he was like
he's still around, by the way, too. Yeah.
He's the best running back of all time. How aren't they playing him?
So he's one of them, and the other is Ryan Matthews. And it happened twice.
Forgot about Ryan Matthews.
Yeah, it happened twice in Doug Peterson's rookie season. So this has never been a guy that gets it. They spread it out. But I just feel like, with me personally, I'd rather take that wide receiver and then take the upside in another tight end. This is why we loved Kittle last year, you and I. And this is why we loved Ertz. We took him in the middle rounds.
And
find those breakout middle round guys.
It's so you have to hit on them, though, or it's an absolute zero. And like in legal leagues, we won it because you drafted Kittle in the 40th round.
And then we flipped them.
Yeah, but did we trade him to the Miz?
We may have.
No, we didn't trade him. The Miz was asking the world.
We traded him and Jose Ramirez, by the way.
Isn't Jose Ramirez? I haven't looked at baseball, but I assume he's like garbage.
He completely, it's like Space Jam. Like somebody just stole his
That is
powers.
amazing.
He's awful now.
What did we get out of it? We got Devontae Adams back at one point.
Yeah, we ended up winning the football league, which was all we wanted, right?
Yeah. Well, that's because
we did trade.
That's because Gurley got hurt in the game that we played him in the semifinals.
Yeah. And
sorry, Jonah.
Yeah, sorry, Jonah. And you spent all that money on James Conner.
That's right. Yeah, we emptied the fab as soon as Bell got declared out on James
I think
Conner.
You know who we got? We got Devontae Adams.
Because
we had Hopkins already.
I think we made a basketball trade for those guys because we got LeBron at one point. Then he instantly got hurt.
And then we had him and Anthony Davis and Ben Simmons, and all of a sudden everybody was hurt. It's like, great, we have an amazing team on paper and we suck.
Yeah,
it's just the way it goes. Obviously,
how are we doing in baseball? Like middle of the pack?
Yeah, one day I wake up we're third, second, and then next day I wake up we're sixth or seventh. It's pretty.
We just gotta win. Gotta win football again.
All of our baseball statistics are right in the middle of the pack. We're not hurting too much, so
okay,
that's
so
fine.
we can make moves if need be.
Yeah, for sure.
So Elliott, Barkley, McCaffrey, Kamara. Then I go, like I said, Gordon, Bell, Connor, Mixon, Cook, and Chubb. I think there's a real discussion between Bell and Connor, depending on how like frisky you want to get. Like, do you expect any rust from Bell?
There's got to be some,
and there? Like the fact that he's not playing in the Pittsburgh offense anymore,
right? Yeah, there absolutely has to be some. And the fact he's dealing with an inexperienced quarterback. And
just look at the ADPs for a second on the screen here. Connor 13, Mixon 14, Dalvin Cook 19. Let's say you picked at 11, right? Mm-hmm. And you went Kelsey and then Mixon to start your team. I don't think that's a bad team. It's
not. No, it's not. No, again, we're just splitting hairs with Kelsey. Like, he deserves to be talked about in this.
But okay, would you feel more comfortable with your team if it was Kelsey and Mixon or if it was Beckham and Mixon? I think I like the Kelsey side more.
Yeah, well, out of all the wide receivers in the top, and we'll get to them, like Beckham has... I mean, he's probably going to disappoint. He could, of all of them,
or be the best,
out of all of them,
be the
right?
best.
There's two sides of it. Like, there's Beckham, who's been fragile, and all of a sudden going to new offense and dealing with Baker Mayfield, who I think is great, by the way, but still a new coach, new offensive coordinator. There's still a lot of question marks, with Cleveland. But everybody else inside the offense is great. I started a draft at the Athletic with Hopkins and Michael Thomas.
See, that's a good start.
And then you get into a situation
where the running backs suck.
Yeah, and you get to your tier 4.
Yeah, because what
are you going to do?
Yeah, tier 3, I have Damian Williams, David Johnson, Todd Gurley, Josh Jacobs, Marlon Mack, and Todd Gurley's just dropping by the second.
Is he ever? I know.
It's not that I don't think that he can be really good. It's that I don't want to be the guy who finds out.
Right.
And the guy who found out 2 years ago, if he was any good,
Yeah.
won all of the leagues.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we know what the upside is. The upside is best player in fantasy. The downside is like he has arthritis and he needs to take Phil Mickelson pills, and that's no good.
That's no good at all. And the fact that
he needs to be chewing CBD oil gum.
He really does, like Tiger Woods, right?
And Phil, they both do it. Yeah. When you're an old man, you got the arthritis.
It makes a lot of sense. I love it. I haven't seen you since Tiger won the Masters. I just thought it was phenomenal. But yeah. If you want to take the risk, if you're a risk taker in the first, I wouldn't do it in the first round. And I probably won't do it in the second.
And that's the thing. Then
you're not
getting it.
Exactly. You're not getting
Someone will bite on that.
How many touches do you think Gurley's going to get on average? 13? If he gets 13 in that offense, he's probably still a borderline RB1.
It's not the fact that I don't think that he's going to get a whole bunch of work, because I think that he will. He'll control the goal line. I can still see him up around 20 touches a game. It just seems like
how efficient is he going to be?
And if he even tweaks anything at this point, they're not going through what they did last year. They will shut him down.
Yeah.
And wait for him to get healthy for the playoffs so they have a healthy Gurley.
Exactly. And if you're the Rams too, Sean McVay drafted his own guy in Henderson. Why not just limit the touches for Gurley? You don't really need him to have success in the regular season.
So while he could still potentially be, that's why I think about moving Jacobs ahead of him. Not that I think that Jacobs could be great. Jacobs could be bad.
Opportunity.
But he's just going to touch the ball all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. I would go Jacobs ahead of him. I would go Mack ahead of him. I like Marlon Mack a lot.
Yeah, I like Marlon Mack too. So that would be the kind of tier of guys that we're talking about here. If you went Thomas and Hopkins, 1-2 in the first 2 rounds, you would end up in the Marlon Mack, Josh Jacobs, Darius Geis, Kenyon Drake. That's the tier of Devonta Freeman.
Yeah.
Those are the guys that are now your running back one. And you basically need to go running back.
Yeah. So in that Athletic mock draft that I'm talking about, Hopkins, Thomas, I went running back. But you're left in a situation, and I was sitting and staring at 3 guys, and Freeman, Fournette, and Derrick Henry. And it's wow, one of these guys is going to be my RB1. Then you're in a situation where, okay, do I reach a little bit?
I think you have to take Freeman with that pick.
I took Fournette. But
I have them.
It's one of the two, right? Yeah, it's one of the two. It's
you're not banking.
Henry is not going to do much for you in a PPR league. And that's why I just put him off to the side a little bit. And then it's Montgomery in the 4th if you want to reach him, or Chris Carson. But then you're really left in that situation. Do you want one of those backs that are probably going to frustrate you all year?
No, you don't.
Or do you want to take one of the top 10? And you probably just want to take one of these top 10 in these first 2 tiers. And looking at your third tier, I mean, you could make a case for David Johnson in that second one if you want to.
Okay, so last week I had the fantasy football counselor on.
Okay.
He's got takes.
By
the way,
ever.
Just the most scorching takes you could ever have.
He does.
He fires. He's like Siege in a way. He gets the people fired up.
Yeah.
It's very much, I love this guy, I hate this guy, and realistically, that's where you want to be.
Yes.
I'm very much on board with that. But
Yeah.
I just enjoyed hearing the hot takes. He had David Johnson at number 1.
Okay.
I was like, whoa. And then he said he would take Derrick Henry with the second pick of the second round. I was like, and he said that the floor for him would be 1,400 yards.
The floor.
The floor. He said possibly 2,000 yards this year.
Wow.
And
For Henry?
For Henry, I was like, I'd rather draft Deion Lewis at the very end because he might outscore him.
I think that Tennessee learned something with Derrick Henry to give him the ball.
But LaFleur is now gone.
Right, but
and
LaFleur is now
Tennessee
gone.
is going to be shit this year.
They're going to be crap.
So when are they going to be running?
Yeah,
Never.
exactly. That's the same thing. It's what we saw towards the end of the season. Last season was nice. So you're getting all those touches. He was, by the time teams were in the third and fourth quarter, those defenses didn't want to tackle Henry. Like there is a bit of, give him the football, but also move the football off through the air. Marcus Mariota hasn't. He hasn't been able to do that.
We get Ryan Tannehill in there,
and now he has another offensive. I think this is 4 different offensive coordinators for him in 5 years.
He's now undergoing what we like to call the Sam Bradford procedure.
My
this is what happened to him,
goodness.
and he just got fucked for life.
Yeah, so there's no confidence in that offense, and
he's
that's
always
why
hurt.
down there. But David Johnson, he had that bad stretch in the first few weeks.
I worry just about what his role is going to be on this team. Like I talk about Zeke potentially regressing in terms of receptions. Like, is Cliff Kingsbury really going to throw to a running back all the time? Don't they just take shots down the field?
Well, they're going to be behind a lot. I mean, that team is still brutal,
which I would say leads to a lot of Kyler Murray rushing.
Yeah,
not necessarily David Johnson rushing.
And have you seen him run? He can run.
He's fast.
Wow, he's fast. Yeah, he really is. But again, they didn't know how to use him in the first few weeks, and then they started to. And even as inconsistent as he was, he still finishes an RB1.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, I have him ranked at number 12.
where you got him is fine.
I have him ranked as an RB1, but they're going to be ass this year. They're not going to be good.
Yeah, they're going to be brutal again. I mean, there was a game last year where they didn't cross midfield.
Was that the Denver game?
I believe Denver or the Rams. They didn't cross midfield.
There was the Thursday night game where they lost 50-0 to the Broncos.
They had run 3 offensive plays in the red zone.
I remember because I bet on Arizona to win because I'm good at betting.
That third range has a lot of question marks. I think Mac is the safest out of the bunch. Damian Williams.
I actually think Jacobs is the safest
because of opportunity.
Because I think he just written in.
Sure.
Give him his 350 touches combined, all the
Yeah.
goal line work. He's not coming off the field. They'll run him into the Gruden's not afraid to run people.
No.
But he could be almost like David Johnson from last year, where it's he has 350 touches for 3.3 yards per carry.
Yeah, exactly.
Damian Williams is the biggest mystery to me.
Absolutely.
I had Davis on. He was all about him. Not surprising. But if he's anything like he was towards the end of last year, he's the best guy. But then I get these Kenyon Drake flashes in my head.
It should.
That's who it reminds me of.
Yeah.
Not even just that he came from Miami. It's just that end of the season that Drake had 2 years ago. Be like, man, Drake is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And he's going to dominate.
Yeah.
And then by the time you get around to the season, he's not the starter anymore. Great.
And the Chiefs, they re-upped in the offseason. I think they signed him to a 2-year deal. Andy Reid has done nothing but talk, all about him. And we know Andy Reid, what he does.
They bring in Carlos Hyde.
And then they bring in Carlos Hyde, and then they draft a couple backs. And I think Carlos Hyde is good. I do. Why?
I don't think that he's good. I also don't think that he's bad.
He's not bad.
He's perfect backup running back.
I guess, yeah, sure. He's a perfect backup running back, but he's twice flirted with 1,000 yards, just under 1,000 yards on bad teams. He had one season where he had 87 targets and 50 some odd catches. So he can, if he was given this role, if anything happened, Damian Williams has never played a full season. I think the most touches he's ever had in a year carries is 60.
Well, as someone who used to try to mine some value, PPR value in very deep leagues out of the Miami backfield, I can tell you, Damian Williams, case of the dizzies a lot.
Right?
Not afraid to get rocked and be out for 6 weeks.
He's not very big. He has not had a full season of touching the ball 20 times a game. Maybe he's going to do that in the first few weeks.
Maybe I have.
He's a huge risk, in my opinion.
I think he's a huge risk.
And I think if you draft him, you need to draft Carlos Hyde.
Yeah, you probably have to.
I think he might be one of the better handcuffs in football.
Yeah, who would be the best handcuffs this year?
You don't want any of Dallas's backup.
Latavius.
Latavius, but you're gonna pay for him.
Yeah, but you
mid-30s.
You could probably use him as a flex most weeks anyway.
I like Latavius.
Eckler, but I guess we saw Josh Jackson
exactly
take
Eckler's
that role.
Yeah,
but Eckler will still have his role, so he'll still be usable.
Absolutely.
So instead of getting like 38% of the snap share, if Gordon's out and Jackson's in, maybe he gets like 46%.
Yeah,
and just ups a little bit, but he'd still be usable.
Sure. Yeah, we saw that last year. He's not a guy that runs between the tackles very well. And James Conner, like, what are you going? Sure, we love the fact Pittsburgh's, but then there's going to be a little bit of a mess there with Samuels
and Snell.
Ito
Smith, maybe.
But he had an opportunity too, didn't he? Like, Tevin Coleman sucked, and then they gave him the ball, and he wasn't good. Obviously, I mean, you got to wait for Kareem Hunt, but David Johnson, they're talking up Chase Edmonds. Like, he's kind of free, but then you're stuck in the fact that the offense just sucks. They're not going to score any points.
Do you think that Chase
might be the best?
Do you think that Chase Edmonds has a bigger role this year?
I think he does. Yeah.
Well, then that would hurt the bottom line.
It would hurt. It would hurt him a little bit. Yeah. But out of all of those guys, I mean, who's the back that you want in that offense? Is Kansas City.
Yeah.
It's Kansas City. That's why we like Damian Williams. We're willing to draft him as an RB1 on the pure fact that he just had 4 to 5 really good games in this Chiefs offense. He's never been a guy that has had 200 plus touches or carries. I have some concerns. I think we all should.
Yeah, so I think that like because he's a part of like tier 3, and like the tiers don't.
I think
match
it's fair. Yeah,
the tiers don't match up perfectly. Like tier 3 and tight end would not go right after tier 3 at running back, obviously.
Right. Yeah.
But if we think about like the tier 2 receivers that I have are like Thomas, Jones, Beckham, Brown, and Schuster, with Hopkins and Adams as tier 1. And then the tier 3 guys are like Allen, Hilton, Evans, Edelman, Green, Cooper, Thielen, and Diggs. Like, would you take any of those guys above Damian Williams? All of those guys above Damian Williams? Or
I would take Allen. Ty, Evans, Thielen. AJ, I'm kind of just I want to deal with him again. But it's fine.
Jake and I actually talked about AJ Green in very much that sense. Like, people are just sick of owning him.
Right. And if he's going to fall into the third round because of that, I will take him in the third round.
Yeah, like, he's so good.
He was actually on pace for his best season ever before he got hurt. He really was. I mean, the Bengals are trash again. They're going to be throwing the football a ton.
He just lost an O-lineman for the year.
Yeah, their first pick. Like, it's brutal stuff. But yeah, I would take all those guys. I think Thielen... Yeah, I was going to put him in that second tier, but I can't. But it's close. I believe in Thielen, what he did last year.
I think that he's very good. There's a reason that he's with AJ Green and Amari Cooper. But I just think Edelman's a way safer bet. He's PPR scoring.
Yeah, PPR scoring for sure. I mean, another year of Edelman doing the same thing he's always done.
Exactly.
Yeah.
12 targets a game, 8 catches, 89 yards. Hopefully he scores touchdowns.
So I would take those wideouts, but by the time you have to make the choice of Cooper or Diggs or even Green or even Edelman, Williams is probably gone. Damian Williams is probably gone.
I mean, Edelman, I have ranked higher than I think most people do. Yeah. So he's a guy that you could probably wait around on based off like my rank, like where I would have him ranked overall. Yeah. You could probably wait around and then take Julian Edelman. So you wouldn't necessarily have to make that choice. But if it came down to like, Amari Cooper, Damian Williams, I would take Damian Williams.
The thing with Damian Williams and...
like Amari Cooper and Derrick Henry are like the same guy to me.
Yeah.
Like Cooper's going to have 5 awesome games and then he's just going to kill you.
Yeah.
And maybe this is different now. Maybe that he's not in Oakland. Maybe he has a modicum of consistency.
Well, they at least used him properly. Like, he hadn't had...
Yeah, run down the field, Amari. We'll throw it to
his first few games in Oakland, they didn't target him on an opening drive once. Not once did they target their best player on their team.
So you think it's like a basketball situation where if you don't get everyone involved early, they check out of the game?
Maybe. I don't know, but use your best weapon. You suck as it is. Dallas used him all the time. Let's use him in the red zone. Let's target him.
And he wasn't even the best weapon.
And he wasn't even the best weapon. Exactly. So the thing with Williams, I'm starting to come around. I'm just started thinking about this. If you draft in the first 4, you could have a backfield of the first tier: Elliott, Barkley, McCaffrey.
You could have Elliott, Chubb, Williams if you wanted.
Yeah. And then if Williams doesn't pan out, you still have yourself a top 5 running back, a solid running back. And if he does pan out and just gives you 10 games of last year, Damian Williams, then you have 2 of probably the best backs in the league.
Then you've gone 3 running backs to start your team. You know you're going to have to reach on Carlos Hyde at some point. Like, what does the rest of your team look like at that point? Like, who's your wide receiver 1? Robert Woods?
Yeah, then that's not great. But I mean, you don't have to go back. You can go back. You can go back.
Sure.
Wide receiver, and then maybe you're looking at Diggs or Cooper. Yikes! But maybe you're looking at one of those 2 as your wide receiver 1.
Yeah, I mean, your wide receiver 1 could be like Galladay, Godwin, Robbie Anderson, and Mike Williams. That can be your 4, like boom, 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 and just hope they're really good.
It's not awful.
It's not. I mean, I would prefer to have a really good wide receiver.
Sure,
that would
same.
be nice.
Yeah, I agree. But I mean, that's kind of where Williams is going. Where like if you're in the first few picks, he's gonna be sitting there staring at you in your second pick.
So we talked about these tight ends. Like I have Kelsey on a tier of his own. Like I said, I think that he's in contention to be a first-round pick. I might actually rank him that way. And then Kittle and Ertz, probably third-round picks is when I would start to get interested. But I don't know if I want to invest that much. It's fine. I'm talking about Kelsey in the first round. But I don't know if I want to invest a third into either one of those guys. And then Davis made a good point that the Howard, Henry, Ingram tier, who I do have next, they're just being overdrafted.
They are.
They're going too high that
Fourth,
the move
fifth,
probably
sixth
is at that point, just wait.
Yeah, just wait. I love... Like I think Herndon is this year's breakout guy that you can get in the middle 10.
He's not even going
double-digit rounds.
He's not even going drafted in some places.
Yeah, so,
Herndon. I think Gesicki is.
Yeah, I think he's
in
a breakout
spot
candidate
like everyone
too.
just like
Agreed.
everyone forgets that rookie tight ends suck.
Right.
And then year two, like they can take a step forward.
Like Kittle.
Yeah, but Kittle was like okay.
Yeah.
Year one playing with
okay.
CJ Guilty Beathard. But not the Hall of Famer Nick Mullins.
Yeah.
I mean,
you got Jake Seeley here in brackets. Like I don't, he doesn't like Cook either though. Does anybody like Cook?
No one likes Jared Cook.
Yeah.
I mean, you do.
We have him in no, we don't.
There's no chance that we have him.
I don't like Cook. I liked the opportunity at times last year, but I mean, he's playing with the Saints.
It's funny. Like, is his opportunity better or worse now that he play for fantasy points?
It's probably worse. I mean, the offense is better, but it's probably worse because at times he was the number, especially when Cooper was gone.
Yeah.
He was the number one option in that offense.
Yeah, probably why Oakland sucked, by the way.
It's a good call. It's exactly probably why.
Like the other guys, like people are talking up Hooper. Like I don't want Austin Hooper.
I don't want Hooper either. I see him trending up. He is trending up with each year. I've seen the progress.
Sure,
from him.
but now they bring in Dirk Cutter.
Yeah,
you need to cutter. So it's another, and we've seen the Matt Ryan first-year offensive coordinators. That's when the offense takes a downturn, and he's like every other year. And people are talking about Calvin Ridley being a big breakout again. They're like, so not only like Matt Ryan had a huge year last year.
He did.
So not only is Julio going to be the same, Calvin Ridley's going to get better. Also, Austin Hooper's going to get better too. Like,
and
there's just not that much
hanging around who has some decent games here and there too.
Yeah, but that's all just when he throws for touchdowns.
Yeah, sure.
And Julio drops them in the end zone.
Yeah, you have to ask yourself: is Atlanta's defense going to be as bad? Like, maybe not. And they threw the ball a ton last year because everybody was hurt.
How many guys didn't they lose?
Lost everybody.
They lost Keanu Neal in the first game, like the first play of the Thursday nighter.
So if you go look at Matt Ryan's numbers, you will see good, bad, good, bad, good, bad, good. But you also see the most throws in like a long time, the most completions, like all of that. Like he was just throwing the ball a ton. Where if the defense is a little bit better, maybe they don't. Plus, Freeman wasn't there, too, to run the football. They didn't have anyone to run the football.
This is true. So, yeah, I think I'd go Kittle. Maybe if one of these guys from, like, tier 2, not Jared, tier 3, sorry, 4. Jared Cook aside, like Vance, Njoku, Ebron, Walker, Herndon.
Yeah.
If one of those guys basically fell to the end, I would take one of them. But it's probably going to be like Gesicki.
Doyle's not bad either in that range.
Yeah, Doyle's
People are going to forget about him.
Doyle's like the homeless man Zach Ertz. He's like Zach Ertz with no touchdowns.
But Ertz is getting touchdowns now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why he's the homeless man, Zach Ertz.
Fair enough. Okay.
Like Ricky Seals-Jones as a part of that Arizona offense, if we do think that they're taking shots downfield and they're always down and they're going to be throwing, I can see it. Yeah. I mean, I have no faith in it, but I can see it. And even though I said that like rookie tight ends are trash, like Noah Fant is in a good position to do a lot.
Yeah, he is. He definitely is.
You have 2 second-year receivers. In Sutton and Hamilton. We don't know when Sanders is going to be back, and he's the starting tight end who doesn't block and only runs routes.
Exactly.
And Flacco loves throwing to tight ends.
Right? Loves it. Has always loved it. So Dennis Pitta, his boy. If he could have Pitta back, he would. So.
I mean, Dennis Pitta might try to come out of retirement again. Maybe get Todd Heap back.
John Elway that's probably what he said. Listen, we're going to make it, when they acquired him, he's like, listen, we're drafting a tight end first round just for you.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it, just for you. So Again, I'll go back to Herndon. He's a guy that I've drafted already a couple times. I'm going to have my eyes on him as the breakout guy.
Is it 1 or 2 games he's suspended? 2 to begin the year?
Is it 2?
Yeah, he did a glug glug vroom vroom.
Well, I'm unaware of that. I need to change my tune on Herndon. I could get him for free. I hope he's suspended for 2 games.
That's why I'm saying that he's not going drafted.
Okay. I was not aware of that. Nice. So
I think it just like randomly came out and like Chris Herndon pleads guilty to DUI, will face suspension.
Okay.
Expected to serve suspension, 2-game suspension.
2-game suspension. So he's going to be my pick in every league in the last round, and I'll just deal
But
with
what
it.
will you do the first 2 weeks at tight
I'll
end?
just deal with it. I'll like Gesicki or Mark Andrews.
Walt Disley?
Yeah. Or I mean, there's not a lot going on in Seattle these days.
Let's talk about Seattle for a second. Because I've seen in my wide receiver rankings, I have Lockett down pretty far. I have him one spot behind Alshon Jeffrey, which is like the bottom of the 30s. And it seems like a lot of people have him like the early
20s.
I have him in the bottom, like around pick 30 at wide receiver. And a lot of people have him in that like Godwin, Ridley, Brandon Cooks range. Like, I get it. But he was ultra efficient last year, for one thing.
Yeah, so was Wilson.
2, they went and drafted DraftKings Metcalf. So he's going to be out there, and who knows? He feels like an Amari Cooper type who's going to have like 4 huge games and do nothing else.
Yeah.
You have these 2 tight ends with Disley and Vinette.
Yeah.
David Moore is going to catch random touchdowns. So is Jaron Brown.
Yeah. I don't.
And they're going to try to run the ball every single play. Like,
I think
they could all be bad.
I think they all could be. I think Russell Wilson could be a bust. He was uber efficient last year.
Wilson is, I feel like, even if all the receivers are quote unquote bad from a fantasy perspective, I don't think that discludes Russell Wilson from being good in fantasy because you can just spread it all around. If 6 different guys are contributing, at least they're all contributing through Russell Wilson.
What if Metcalf sucks? Like this guy has a 2% body fat. That's not normal.
No, that's tough.
I don't know if he can go through a full season of being the number 2. Like he said, he has 0% body fat. I saw an interview with him. And
I don't think that you can be.
Normal.
I don't think that you could be alive with 0% body fat.
It's like, but like that's not capable. And Tyler Lockett has never been the one before. Like, he can move around. He runs great routes, and he has fantastic hands.
He's quick.
He's very quick. So I'm like he could probably still be decent, but he's never been a 1 before. I think he's getting overdrafted in leagues. They want to run the football. Only Baltimore ran the football more than them. It's because Lamar Jackson ran the ball like 100 times. Like so, and that's what they want to do. That's why the only guy in Seattle I want is Chris Carson. Nobody's giving him any love again. And I don't believe in Rashad Penny.
I don't believe in Rashad Penny either, but it seems like they're going to give him a crack. So again, we're going to have to see. The Seahawks telegraphed their hand pretty amazingly in the preseason. Just watch what they do week 1 of the preseason, and that's what they're going to be doing.
Yeah.
That's what they did with Carson last year. And I'm like, oh, no, not Chris Carson.
Yeah.
He was on our team, our league-winning team.
And
we got him for free.
Exactly. And again, he's going like RB 28, 30 or whatever. And what he finished like maybe 5th or 6th in rushing yards. Like he was top 5 in almost every single category besides catches. But like red zone opportunities, that's the downfall.
That is the downfall.
But if you're going to get him as your RB3.
Sure, or even RB4 at this point because people are like off of him. But I have him down with Miles Sanders, Lamar Miller, Tevin Coleman, Chris Carson, Peyton Barber, Tariq Cohen, Deion Lewis, LaShawn McCoy. Good God.
I would put him in. I would honestly put him in the Montgomery, Lindsey, Johnson. I mean, Michelle's got this knee injury. Like I'd rather Carson than Michelle.
Yeah, I can't.
And Philip Lindsay.
Yeah,
he's set up to be a bust this year for sure. I think. I mean, I don't think he could get 200 plus carries. Rolls Royce Freeman. Maybe they want to get him involved a little bit more. Philip Lindsay said he's just a small little back. Very impressed with what he did last year, and definitely out of the backfield, he's a plus. But I don't know, man. He's another guy I'm gonna have some concerns of.
Do you have any concerns about James White? Because I don't.
Nah, he's just the man.
Yeah, he's the guy.
Yeah,
his role will remain unchanged. It feels like
he's great. He finished as an RB1 last year. Unbelievable. He was free. Nobody talked about him. Nobody talked about him at all.
I was drafting Rex Burkhead in the 3rd round. James White was free. Oh, perfect. Real savvy.
So now we have to spend on James White this year, but whatever. Who cares if you're playing in a full point PPR league? I mean, he's going to continue to get work. He's just going to be involved.
You worry about Dalvin Cook?
Yeah, I have some concerns, but I think it's worth it. I think the Minnesota offense will be better as a whole. Actually, and this is another we know about quarterbacks like Kirk Cousins, whatever. It's another guy who just you can just draft in the 16th round. They didn't have a run game really. Like Latavius is fine, but he never caught the ball. So Dalvin Cook, and he's a big player in PPR leagues too. Lots of catches out of the backfield.
Whenever he touches the ball, he looks super explosive. He played 15 games in 2 years?
Yeah. So that's why.
Does that make Alexander Madison a good handcuff to go pick up? Or is it going to be like CJ Ham and Boone and like those losers from last year?
No, I think he's a good handcuff. Just the way Latavius was last year. He's a good handcuff that if anything happens to Cook, you just plug him in there. But that's like to me personally, I would go DJ over Cook. Man, Chubb, I wish Chubb was this. Where would you have Chubb if Kareem Hunt wasn't even in the picture? Or do you even care about Kareem Hunt?
Same spot. It's not that I don't care about Kareem Hunt. Is that if I rank Chubb, I think I have him ranked number 9. That's what that is, or number 10. Yeah. that if he lives up to being the number 10 overall fantasy running back, like he's not losing his job.
Right, yeah.
And if he does, that means he sucked anyway. So it's no real big deal because he was awful to begin with.
Yeah, I think he's awesome. I think Nick Chubb is great. I don't think there's any need for Kareem Hunt, but
If that is an offense that's going to score a ton of points, he is going to score a ton of touchdowns.
yeah. No, I agree.
Just pass to him.
Just pass to him. Yeah, so I just think Carson is I think he's much better than Tevin Coleman.
See,
I like where you have Peyton Barber. I think he's free. He's going to be a target of mine. I feel like I'm going to have a lot of shares of him.
Unless we find out that Ronald Jones has
decent?
distinctly taken this job, which just doesn't feel like he has.
I
That
know.
Barber's, he's a free running back who's going to not really do a ton, but he'll get 16 to 20 touches a game,
Yeah.
which is good enough on bye weeks. Or maybe he's just good this year.
Yeah, maybe.
Who knows?
Yeah, maybe he just is. And who knows what Bruce Arians going to do. Obviously, he didn't want to draft a back. He knew what he had going in.
Well, Jay Ajayi is still out there as of right now. I don't know if he has any knees left, but he's available.
I would say no, he doesn't have any knees left. I know he went in to see Frank Reich, who he worked with in Philly, to go
they
see
have
the
Marlon
Colts.
Mack.
And they just said, no.
Are we
thanks."
sleeping on Marlon Mack?
Yes.
Like, is he just the guy?
Yes.
'Cause I do worry. I mean, I guess if they're going to be good, it's not going to be a problem. But every time they get down, Naheem Hines is in the game.
Every time they get down, yeah, but that's the thing. They're good. Then they bring in a couple more weapons. I think will help Mac. They have to give a little bit of respect to Devin Funches, whatever. Paris Campbell, I think, is gonna be
Paris
good.
Campbell?
I think he's going to be good. So the offensive line is phenomenal. We know that. It's great. And Andrew Luck, obviously.
They also get Deion
he's
Kane
healthy.
back, too.
Deion Kane is another player.
And-
I liked him last year.
I was going to say, Devin Funches is basically their fourth string tight end.
Yeah. Yeah. He really is.
He's behind Doyle, Ebron, Mo Ali Cox, then it's Devin Funches.
There's another tight end for, is it Cox?
Yes, Mo Ali Cox.
They were raving about him the other day too. I'm like,
course.
guys, you
Pump
have
the
so
brakes.
many tight
They're
ends.
going to be that guy in your league that hoards fantasy quarterbacks on his bench, but they can't. And everyone's like, yeah, screw it. Have 5 quarterbacks on your bench. Go nuts, man. We're not making a trade.
You know how I think is going to be this year's or last year's Eric Ebron is David Njoku. I think they don't want anything to do with Njoku.
Really?
Because, I've seen him go as tight end 10 or 11. That's where I like to draft my tight ends. Like, I like to take them in.
Yeah, if Njoku goes that low, I agree
think
with you.
he-
He's
I-
the
I
target.
think he
Like
will.
Vance the same way. Like if Vance falls,
I think
that
people
low.
are going to reach on Vance.
Yeah, I can see that.
You'll see those first 3 go. You see Kelsey, whatever, second round. Well, I've seen Kelsey and then George right after, and then Kittle right after, and then Ertz like 6, 7 after.
I think that's too close.
I think it's too close too. And then once you get past that second tier, I think you get into people reaching on McDonald, Ebron, who's a really honestly.
Listen, I'm not reaching on Ebron.
He's set up to fail.
Yeah, I agree.
14
but like
touchdowns
I
this
feel like people are reaching on Howard, Henry, and Ingram. Like
Yeah.
5th round picks on those guys are not good picks. They might be good. It might turn out to work out.
I agree.
But
I agree.
for
The
the
5th round is too much.
like, would you rather have? And I know this is a strange situation. It depends on how your team works out. But in the 5th round, would you rather draft OJ Howard or Kenyon Drake?
yeah, I would rather draft Drake.
I think I'd rather have the running back.
Me too. I would too. I agree. I absolutely agree with you there. We're on the same mindset. But like Njoku, I've found has just been like that, and it's early, but I've done some mocks. He's been like 9th, 10th, 11th tight end off the board in the middle rounds, and I don't think anybody wants anything to do with him because at times last year, when given the opportunity, he disappointed. And also they bring in Odell Beckham Jr., they got Jarvis Landry there. They got Chubb. They have all these guys. But Njoku feels like that tight end who is just going to be targeted in the red zone. And if that's the case, fine, whatever. If he's going to get 5 or 6 targets and 4 of them or 3 of them in the red zone, that's what Eric Ebron was most of the season. He was just used in the red zone.
Yeah, so the case against Njoku is like, oh, his market share is definitely going to go down. But extensive coverage on Njoku is going to go way down, too.
Right?
Like, he just might be wide open up the seams.
The red zone, I feel like, is going to be that's going to be their bread and butter. You're going to have Landry, who's not a big red zone target, but a couple years ago in Miami, he was. They could use him that way.
Beckham scores touchdowns.
Beckham scores touchdowns.
And Chubb bulldoze. And Baker can run.
Exactly. So, I mean, they have lots of options. Obviously, that offense is going to be pretty legit. Probably, maybe, arguably the best team on just on paper, roster wise, both offensively and defensively. I think they may be the most skilled.
The Rams are still pretty good.
The Rams are still pretty good.
The
Defensively, maybe.
the Chiefs'
maybe not
defense
so
is
much.
awful, but their offense is so good.
Their offense is, it's unbelievable.
The Chargers are close to the best team on paper.
Their win total's 9.5. I mean, I jumped all over that already. They were a 12-win team last year. 9.5. What's going on? That's disrespect. It's disrespect.
Maybe people think that the Broncos and Raiders are going to be better. Although I'm pretty sure that the Chargers lost to the Raiders at one point last year.
I'm sure that they will again this year too. Like there's gonna be one loss that Jeff pulls his hair out, but there's still
Oh, but that's such nice hair.
It really is nice hair.
Quarterbacks.
Yes.
When are you thinking about targeting a quarterback? Because Mahomes is going in what, late third, middle of the fourth kind of thing?
You'd hope. You hope that he doesn't go in the first 2 rounds, 3 rounds.
But I guarantee you people will take him there.
For sure,
That's too
they
high.
will. Yeah.
It's too high.
It is too high. He's set up to be a bust, in my opinion.
See, I haven't. Yeah, there's a fly going around.
Yeah.
You stink. You brought your stench in with you. Your terrible takes on Mahomes sucks.
Mahomes is going to be a bust.
He's not going to be a bust.
Why not? There's
he-
been 3 quarterbacks.
Because he's going to throw like 35 touchdowns and 4,500 yards, and he's still going to be a top 10 guy. But he's just not going to blow out the field like he did last year.
Sure, he's not going to blow.
He's not going to throw 50 touchdowns again.
He's not going to do that.
But just because
it's
he
only
doesn't
been
throw
done
50
3 times
touchdowns,
ever.
but just because he doesn't throw 50 touchdowns doesn't make him a
If
bust.
Tyreek Hill is suspended for 8 games, is Patrick Mahomes finishing as QB1?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Who's he throwing the ball to?
Kelsey. Me Cole, hard man. Sammy Watkins for 4 games. Damian Williams, then he'll start running it. Then he'll throw left-handed. The guy's amazing.
I know he's amazing, and it just makes me sick to even say anything negative about him or call him a bust. Like, he's a stud. Look at those numbers, like, phenomenal. Like, he really is. Like, he could probably work with anybody off the street. I get it, but if Tyreek Hill is gone from this team for 8 games, I think it's a big issue. I don't know. I would never draft him because he's going to go too early. To answer your question, I start thinking it depends. If guys are going to sit there and just let quarterbacks fly off the board,
That's different.
I took Luck in the 6th. So for example, I will take Luck in the 6th every single time. If he's there in the 6th,
Would you take Luck in the 4th round?
No. He has to
Fall to the so the
Fall
sixth.
to
The
the
sixth
sixth.
would be a cutoff rate.
Yeah, and then I'm really waiting until probably round 12, 13, 14.
Yeah, like I think Watson and Rodgers are a cut above everyone else. I have Baker Mayfield on a tier by himself in between everyone else because I do think that he's good, but it feels like he's definitely going to be overdrafted.
Absolutely.
Like if he's going in the 5th round, I'm not taking Baker in the 5th
and he
round.
will go in the 5th round, Pat. Everyone loves Baker in Cleveland.
Do you know who I think he is. Our fantasy quarterback is. We did our draft back in like March.
Yeah.
I think we have Josh Allen again.
I hope so.
Josh Allen, Jameis Winston. Those are the 2 guys you probably want to take.
Josh Allen to me he's going to be a borderline quarterback 1. He's not drafted like that. His ADP right now is like 20.
Yeah,
or something
everyone's
silly.
drafting Kyler. Everyone's drafting Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
Assuming that Josh Allen's just not going to do what he did again. But
Right.
like, why would that change?
So
What else did the Bills do?
let's trash Jake a little bit since he's not going to listen. So in his rankings and projections, he's got Lamar Jackson as like quarterback 10.
I can see. But I can
So
see
why
that.
not have Josh Allen there?
Plus-
why have him at 16 or
Plus,
17?
Josh Allen can throw.
He can throw a deep ball. He's connected already in a small sample size with Robert Foster up the field. Like nobody had a higher ADOT than Robert Foster.
Now they got John Brown.
Now
who
they
just
got Brown
burns
who
down
does
the
the
field.
same thing as well. Bring in your boy Cole Beasley.
The Bees.
The Bees. They got like 500 running backs, but the offensive line improved. And nobody had more red zone rushing attempts than him on his own team last year because he loves to call his own number and run around. He's going to scramble a little bit when guys are not getting open. I like Josh Allen a lot, actually.
So do I.
He's got a safe floor. He had like 630 rushing yards, roughly. Is it right there?
Yeah, 631.
In what, 8 starts?
Yeah.
13 games?
And his injury was he followed through and hit his hand off a helmet. It's
Yeah.
not like he got banged up. Like, he's a huge fucking dude.
He's a huge dude. I like Josh. I'm fine with him being my quarterback 1. And and in this 3rd range, I will take some shots. I'll take some shots on guys like if Newton's going to fall down the board, if people are afraid of him and the injury, I'll take a shot.
I'm not afraid of Cam Newton.
Yeah, I'll take a shot on Cam Newton.
So I should definitely let's play some. Would you rather have Drew Brees or Josh Allen?
I think I'd rather have Josh Allen.
Really?
I really would. I think I would. And I have to put in context of where they're going. I have to draft.
No,
Drew
I'm just
Brees.
talking about
okay, overall.
just-
You don't care if they're the same price?
Like there's no price attached to these guys. Who's better, Brees or Josh
Well,
Allen?
probably Breeze.
It's
Definitely a higher ceiling.
And we're gonna say no strings attached to any of this. Just
Okay,
you're sitting
okay.
there. They're all available to pick up free off the waiver wires. The scenario that we're playing.
Okay.
I know that's not a realistic
Sure.
case, but that's how we're doing.
I like this game.
Winston or Josh Allen.
I go Winston.
Russell Wilson or Josh Allen. It sounds like you would take Josh Allen.
Yeah, I would.
Cam Newton or Josh Allen.
Cam Newton.
Okay. Would you go Matt Ryan or Josh Allen?
I'd probably go Matt Ryan there.
Okay.
I like his weapons.
Kyler Murray or Josh Allen?
I would go Josh Allen.
Garoppolo or Josh Allen?
Josh Allen.
Wentz or your boy Wentz?
I would go Wentz there. I think there's just
That's your Philly homerism.
it's not. And you know what the problem I have with Wentz is?
He's always hurt.
He's always hurt. People are really starting to talk him up now. Oh, it could be MVP. Our boy Andy Holloway from the Footballers has him as quarterback 3. When like he's a big presence, like you are inside the fantasy football community. When people start talking about that, people start overdrafting guys. But if
I'm
Carson
moving Josh
Wentz
Allen up.
is going to go in the double digits, all those weapons.
I'm going to put him one spot. I'm going to move him up 5 spots, put him ahead of Kyler Murray. I think that Murray's going to be a good fantasy
I think
player.
he will be a good fantasy player too. I really do. But again, we're playing this game where there's no cost. Murray's going ahead of Josh Allen.
Yeah, Josh Allen's free.
Yeah.
That's why I've ended up
Yeah.
with Josh Allen.
Safe, man. We were talking about Tyrod Taylor 2 years ago as being a borderline QB1. Why? Because he ran the ball around a lot on Buffalo.
And like,
And there's more upside with Josh Allen.
is LaShawn
Ben
McCoy
Tyrod.
going to do any, like,
I think
does
he's
he have
done.
a better chance of rushing or just gaining over 1,000 yards this year or being cut before the season starts?
Better chance of being cut. Better chance of being cut.
That's so crazy.
It is crazy.
Then who's their backup?
They got Frank Gore.
They have Gore, but they
They got
drafted
TJ Eldon and Singletary.
Singletary. That's
Yeah.
it.
So he's basically free in drafts too. And people are talking about in Dynasty. Obviously, it makes sense because
I think
you got McCoy and
I'd spend a
Gore.
15th round pick on him. Why not?
Yeah, you should. You should.
I talked about this a lot too. I believe I forget who it was with, but like not drafting a defense or kicker. It was with Jake. Not drafting a defense or kicker at your draft. Just draft the Singletaries of the world and
yeah.
and just see if McCoy gets cut. And if not, you can just
Especially-
drop him by week 1.
Yeah, especially if you draft in the first week of August or something silly
Yeah,
like that.
hey, the week before the season, you might not want to.
Yeah,
do
you
that,
might not want to, but yeah, I love
it's just
that
2 extra
stuff.
bench spots.
Exactly.
Then you can figure it out. Because someone always gets hurt on your team. That always happens.
Always happens. Unfortunately, we're going to probably see a couple injuries throughout preseason. Unfortunately,
Yeah, I mean, say no one ever talks about that because you can't predict who it's
you
going to be.
can't. You
Obviously,
can't predict.
Although
But
it's probably going to be Carson Wentz.
don't even wrap them up in bubble wrap for the preseason.
Who's their backup now? Is it Berkeley?
They brought in.
No, that's the Bills' backup.
They brought in Cody Kessler.
Oh boy, I like Cody Kessler.
Oh,
Good backup.
man, I wish we
Not
had Nick
terrible.
Foles. I wish they had Nick
Wait till
Foles.
Goff goes down and Blake Bortles is awesome with the Rams. That'd be hilarious.
It would be hilarious. All those weapons he's using, better offensive line.
Well, what do you make of Foles in Jacksonville? Like,
I
are
mean-
they going to be like good now?
I think they'll be. I think their defense will be better
Yeah,
because
but will their offense actually be any good
it
now?
has to be, doesn't it?
You'd think so.
I mean,
but-
teams are just stacking the box nonstop with Leonard Fournette. Like Leonard Fournette he hasn't been efficient at all. That fly just totally
Fucking fly,
just
man.
landed
Now I'm the
right-
stinky one.
It's you could actually blame me when I walked in the door. I watched the fly right in. So
We
that's
had a-
totally on me.
Someone left a whole bunch of garbage outside the door at like
That'll do it.
around this time last year, and then all of a sudden there was like 300 flies in here.
That'll do
And
it.
I was walking around with rage, just like power spraying them all.
Is it-
Then Paul
were
and I
they
both
dying
got
on the spot?
Then Paul and I both got sick.
Yeah.
The raid is on the floor if you're looking for it.
Not sponsored by the Pat Mayo Experience.
Yeah, not sponsored. Ah, fuck. No, I just cut myself on the bottom of the table.
Oh no.
Good Twitter clips.
Oh,
It's
man.
on your forehead.
That's gonna be good.
I'll try not to spray it at you. How about that?
Yeah, try that. Listen, the offense has to be better, doesn't it? I mean, they can't stack the box. They got to give a little bit of respect to Nick Foles. I like D.D. Westbrook. I think
love
he's
it.
good.
Yeah, but I always like D.D. Westbrook. You know what that does not do? Profit for me. I'm gonna overdraft him again.
I feel like you and I always like Marquise Lee too.
I do, but now he's gonna be.
But
back.
now he's-
I've moved on to D.D. from Marquise.
Yeah, and we all should because D.D. he's very similar to Marquise when we play in the slot, and they can move him around a little bit. But yeah, I think the offense is got to be a little bit more efficient, and that will help the defense out too because. If you look at the numbers overall, their defense wasn't that bad. Yeah, they allowed a lot of points. They didn't allow a lot through the air. It's just Blake Bortles always turned the ball over in their end, and they were just screwed every
Yeah,
single time.
And we see this happen every single year. Is that whoever the elite defense is, that the 1 year, like the overwhelming awesome
Every
defense,
year.
it doesn't sustain itself because so much of being an elite defense does require some luck.
Yeah.
Like you can be good and be unlucky, and then it makes it seem like you're not so good.
Yeah.
You can be good and lucky, and it makes it seem like you're the 85 Bears.
Right. Yeah.
Like Jacksonville from 2 years ago was just at the quarterback's throat every single time.
Yeah.
People figured out their schemes a little bit. It was just another year. You had some film on them. All of a sudden, you can block them a little
Is the
bit.
Bears offense or defense going to be great again this year?
No, I don't think they
Well,
were pretty lucky.
Like people at home that are listening, like, oh, you want the Bears defense? You don't because you don't want to draft
yeah,
them.
you wanted them last
You
year.
wanted them last
Is
year.
when you wanted them.
Yeah, and when nobody. I remember taking them last year, liking them, and then being like, "Well, I'm just going to bench them week 1 against Aaron Rodgers." Well, like knocked Aaron Rodgers out of the game.
Yeah.
They were that good. So
I
I
think
think the offense be better, but Foles is never going to be a
think-
starting quarterback.
No, I don't
for
think he's going to be a
fantasy.
starting quarterback. I'm just wondering about the
Super
piece.
flex.
Like, does he make Fournette better?
I think he will. Yeah, I think he makes Fournette better because, like I said, you're not going to stack the box a ton. He's already, everyone's building a rapport with everyone with, no pads, but
you
he has built a rapport.
You don't really hear a whole lot of negative news coming out of OTAs.
Yeah.
Everyone just has a great connection. Everyone's friends. It's like
Foles,
night one of people when they go on the challenge. Before the competition starts, everyone's great pals. Then the game starts and everyone's at each other's throats.
Like Big Brother the other day. Everyone's friends.
Are you watching?
I am. You know that I am. Yeah.
Remember we tried to do that show and CBS shut us down?
Yep. I do remember that.
That was weird.
That was really weird. And they were all over us, like right away.
Yeah, like immediately.
Immediately when we put that podcast, that show up, they were all over us, which was a little strange. But
see, I haven't seen The Fly. Now I'm going to put down The Raid.
Yeah, it's scared. Maybe you should just leave it up.
No, but now it's going to come back.
But Foles has apparently built a rapport
I have coffee.
with somebody who will not get drafted. Was their rookie tight end that they drafted? I think it was Josh Oliver, perhaps.
I'm not drafting. I mean,
you shouldn't draft him.
I did say that like Noah Fant is on my radar. I feel like that's a different situation.
It's not. It's maybe he's somebody that we were talking about in DraftKings for sure on a Sunday.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Oh,
but this helps the offense. Like Foles, get the ball out of his hands quick. If that's a tight end like Zach Ertz, that's the offense. Obviously running better than last year.
What about there's The Fly? What about your boy Dallas Goedert?
People are all over him too, but guys, like he's the backup tight end.
But how many people can catch passes on this
exactly?
fucking team?
He's the backup tight end. Like if you are in a deep enough league where you invest on Zach Ertz, and I'm talking a deep league because nobody wants to carry two tight ends, then you draft Dallas Goedert or you acquire him in a dynasty league. Because what we've seen from Philly and when Ertz is out, Trey Burton was awesome. Trey Burton was great in the 2 games without Zach Ertz hanging around, and Dallas Goedert, catch him.
I had it.
And Dallas Goedert was good when they scaled back from Ertz a little bit a couple times last year too. So he's a red zone beast. They envisioned using him the same way that the Pats use Gronk and Aaron Hernandez.
Well, are the Pats going to use Steven Anderson that way? Ben Watson's suspended, but he comes back after week 4. He comes
back. Nah, I don't know, man. Like I don't know what to make of the Pats.
They got the Lacoste.
Yeah, they got Lacoste.
Glenn Beck's son, Andrew Beck. Or maybe he's the son of Beck from Odelay.
Ooh, Beck, nice.
He's a Scientologist, by the way. People always forget that.
I did forget that.
Guys that are being overdrafted, I didn't really know what to do with, like Godwin and Ridley. Like I think they're going to be good, but can we pump the fucking brakes on Chris Godwin for a second? Like, is he really going to be like a top 10 wide receiver? I have him up here like right by Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, so there's a guy like Boyd should be in that range.
You think so?
Your boy Boyd. Why not?
I like Boyd.
Boyd was great with AJ on the field, and he was great with AJ off the field. He proved to a lot of people that he can handle top coverage. So I feel like he belongs, like if you're going to, I think he belongs in that Goodwin-Ridley range. Like Goodwin is a 2 on this team. Mm-hmm. Ridley's a 2 on his team. Mike Williams is a 2 on his team. I mean, Jeffrey, I think, is a 2 because he's the second option there. And to Ertz, yeah. To Ertz. DJ Moore, we don't know. We don't know fully. We like what we saw in the second half.
So Boyd,
I think Boyd belongs in there.
Would you go Boyd over Robbie, who is the number 1 on his team and ranked as a top 5 wide receiver in the league by Tim Andercust?
Where does he have Sam Darnold?
Oh, number 1 by far.
I would go Robbie. I would probably draft Robbie ahead of him because he is the 1, but I think that he deserves to be in that tier.
I'll squeeze him in between. I'll squeeze him in between Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore. Now that yeah,
I think he did enough to Goodwin, Ridley. I think he belongs with those guys. I know I want Goodwin too, like everybody else, but
Godwin.
Sorry.
You don't want Marquise
No, I don't
Goodwin.
want Goodwin at all. I didn't want him last year. I don't want anything to do with him. I want Godwin too, but man, it's tough to spend that price. It really is. But I think he's going to be good. I think
he's going to be fine. It does seem like there's far more bust potential. Like it seems like there's more bust potential in terms of it going the other, like him underperforming his ADP than him overperforming.
I would agree with you there.
And even if he ends up being an 8th round value and you draft him in the 5th round, like that's no big deal. That means he's still good.
Yeah.
But I just don't see, like, unless there's a complete switch. Mm-hmm. And then he's better than Mike Evans, then what are we talking about here?
Right. I would rather Tyler Boyd than Alshon Jeffrey.
I now have him ranked over Alshon Jeffrey.
So yeah. I mean, I think, and we go into the next tier, I think the 2 guys and 2 big names that were just hanging on to their big upside years and their record-setting seasons, I think, is Alshon Jeffrey and Allen Robinson. Like, I think those are 2 I don't want anything to do with.
It depends on where they go. Yeah. And it feels like neither of them, everyone is kind of fed up with them.
Yeah.
And now they're
in the 30s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if like I have Allen Robinson one spot ahead of Jarvis Landry and Will Fuller and D.D. Westbrook. Like,
yeah.
That's the range he should be in. And
Yeah,
he
that
probably
is the
has the
range.
most upside of those guys.
Yeah, you're right. Probably does.
Would you go Kirk over Fitzgerald? Like, are you buying Christian Kirk? Or are you like scared?
No, I
about-
like Fitz.
You like Fitz still?
Yeah, absolutely. I looked at his numbers last year. He in a PPR league, wide receiver 27, with nothing to work with at quarterback. I think the offense is at least going to be slightly better.
I heard Christian Kirk quit cocaine, so maybe he won't be as fired up this year.
It sucks to be him.
Yeah.
Sounds awful.
What about Andy Isabella?
Yeah, I mean, super fast. That's all I really know about him.
He's a burner.
Super fast is a burner, but no dice. He's not on my radar. Like Pettis is on my radar.
Is Pettis the guy?
I think he's the guy. Yeah, I think he's the guy in San Fran. Pettis is on my radar. Deshaun Hamilton's on my radar.
Jake keeps calling him Bayshawn Hamilton.
He wants that to be his thing. I refuse to do it.
I mean, I told Jake, I was like, man, like, leave the nicknames to Pat Mayo.
Does he want Hamilton to be his boy?
I
his
think
boo?
so, yeah.
His boo. Just kidding, Jake. Just kidding, bud. Pettis, Marvin Jones. I think those are guys. Marvin Jones is another one that I like. I've always kind of liked him. I know Galladay's on the side, but you know,
Yeah, he's fine.
He's fine.
He could be really good, but he's going to be very inconsistent. But where you have to draft him, he's a bench receiver at this point.
yeah.
Your boy Deshaun back in Philly.
I mean, I think it's good for Wentz. I'm not going to draft him because he's who'd you talk about earlier with Cooper? He's one of those guys that's going to have 5 or 6 amazing games, and it's probably going to be in the first 4 weeks. The Eagles' schedule is super soft to start. I think
So
they
draft Deshaun, trade him
and
after 3
flip
weeks.
him. Absolutely. He's dealt with numerous hamstring issues, but for Carson Wentz, he's never had a deep threat like this. Like Torrey Smith, they tried him. Let's be honest.
Torrey Smith was okay.
He was okay, but they wanted him to be a deep threat guy. Mike Wallace didn't work out. So he fully, for the first time in his career, has a deep threat. Is another OTAs or
Great connection.
Great connection.
Best friends, they're rooming together.
BFFs. Yeah, can't, throw the ball down the field far enough for Deshaun Jackson's speed. But yeah, I just think there's a lot of weapons in Philly. I don't really want any of them besides Wentz that you're taking a risk on, or Ertz. Look for that fly. He's hanging around the back of you.
I know.
He's just chilling.
I caught him just over here a second.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go like this. I'm going to wait for him to like show up right over there and just boom, nail him.
Sterling Shepard's interesting.
Do you prefer Sterling Shepard or Golden Tate?
Shepard.
Like by a substantial margin?
No, not huge, but I do prefer Shepard. The question is, what are they going to do? Like, is Tate going to be their slot guy? If so,
Then what does Ingram do?
Then what does Ingram do, and what does Shepard do? Because I mean, I'm sure Jake said this to you when talking about the whole Giants wide receiver core. Is Shepard probably can't handle that outside job? Like, he just hasn't been able to really, when given the opportunity. When Odell Beckham was down, he wasn't. But when he's in the slot,
Maybe they'll
he's a
play
baller.
everyone in the slot.
Maybe they,
Genius move.
maybe they would Barkley too.
Yeah, everyone just line up in the slot. They'll run a CFL offense. Tyreek Hill. I know we don't know what the suspension's going to be for him. I think I'd still draft him. Like you've been doing these mocks, like 8th round.
Yeah, 8th, 9th.
I'd burn
round.
the 8th.
Yeah, same. I would
People get
too.
so like uppity about like, oh, you can't waste a 9th round pick. Guess what? Go back and look at your 9th round pick the past 10 years. They probably all fucking sucked.
Well, I saw a tweet the other day from somebody who said that he's like, why isn't everyone drafting Josh Gordon in the 10th? Well, like we at least know that Tyreek Hill's coming back. I don't know.
Yeah, I've been down the Josh Gordon road before.
We've been down there before. I mean, I'd rather take shots
Put it
with
this way,
like Sutton or Hamilton.
If I knew it was
10th round.
if I knew it was 8 games, I'd be a bit more pensive with Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
But if it's 2 or if it's 4,
Oh my goodness.
fuck it, let's do it.
and with
Fire him up
and with your skill set and your viewers listen at home who know what they're doing,
off the waiver wire. Yeah,
you could draft Tyreek Hill and deal with it. Wide receiver position is so deep. We know this.
And if it's only 4 weeks, no bye weeks.
Exactly.
You get the full complement of players to fill in.
And if it's 8, you say the course, and then you have them for fantasy football playoff time.
Yes.
I think I missed him.
We're gonna need a GIF. We're gonna need a GIF of that.
Oh, now it's gonna be all fumey in here. Now it's gonna be a real trippy last 20 minutes.
We're gonna need a GIF of that. Listen, I don't want to sound cocky, but I'm comfortable in my ability to stash Tyreek Hill for eight weeks and roll him out there fantasy football playoff time and have a guy
You
like
sound
that.
like a younger and more naive Pat Mayo as it pertained to Josh Gordon. That's who you sound like.
I mean, I think I just got pretty high. I was feeling myself there. But yeah,
Higher than Josh Gordon?
8. No,
Oh, I can.
no.
It's just
Gonna need it
wafting over here.
to get it back together. There's a guy that I like that I haven't seen yet.
Who?
Oh, MVS.
I have MVS down here. I'm behind Geronimo Allison.
It's fine. Is that a tier of the? That's a huge tier.
That's
with
just
Wilson and
that's
everyone?
basically
with
just
everybody?
everyone else.
Okay, I think a huge step forward with him. I don't want Geronimo Allison.
Remember we tried this with MVS last year, and then
we
he was just
we did
trash at the end of the season.
we did, but everyone loves Aaron Rodgers. Why do they love Aaron Rodgers so much?
I don't
He's just throwing to Devontae Adams all the time.
I don't feel like everyone does love Aaron Rodgers anymore, though.
They still love him enough to have him in the top 3 or 4.
But remember, he couldn't chug that beer. People were like, he sucks at quarterback now.
What a bitch! Chug a beer.
Who cares?
What's wrong?
Listen, if you purchase, I know he's a very rich man. But if I'm purchasing one of those like $25 beers at a sporting event, I just want to enjoy it.
Yeah,
I don't want to be bullied into chugging something.
and he doesn't need to chug with all those other guys like he.
And put it this way, my chugging game not quite what it was when I was 18. It was the last time you tried to chug a full beer.
Yeah, I don't even remember.
I tried to do it last summer. Not good. Poor results.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'd like to sit and relax. So maybe I won't knock Aaron Rodgers for that. But I like MVS. Like he's talking him up a little bit. You know, the number 2 in that offense, I believe, showed signs. Yeah, he was inexperienced last year. He disappointed a lot of us after those big couple games. But he's the number 2. I think he's going to be able to take a step forward this year. And I think they're going to have to throw the football.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I'd rather him than Geronimo. Geronimo's going to go ahead of him, and I'd rather just MVS a couple rounds
I
later.
like Geronimo.
You like Geronimo?
It's not that like how much higher is Geronimo really going? It's not like Geronimo's like a 7th.
MVS is almost free though, like 13th
say,
round, 14th.
I would think that
Geronimo
Allison's
there too.
Yeah, I'd say he's up.
Well, I think both of them then at that price point.
Yeah, you might as well
not?
attach yourself to Rodgers. Rodgers
sure.
was the one I want to talk about. Like you said, Luck in the 6th.
Yeah.
Mahomes is going earlier. Luck is going earlier than that too.
Yeah,
Like,
he
where's
is.
Rodgers actually going?
Like in the 5th.
Oh, see, that's too high.
See, like Mahomes
I would think
is
like 7th or 8th, and I'd be like, hey, Aaron Rodgers.
I've seen Mahomes go in the 2nd in mocks, like with quote unquote experts. They don't care, right? That's why I call him a bust. That's it. Like you draft.
He's an
him last
ADP
year.
bust.
Yeah, he's an ADP bust. But Superflex leagues is a different story. You want that CFF league that we're in, like quarterbacks fly off the board.
I am no longer in that.
And I don't think it's a thing anymore.
I won my titles.
You left and that was it.
I won the first 2 years. I was like,
did you ever crush it?
I'm out.
Yeah.
I had 1 year where like I was
Cam Newton and another top 3 quarterback.
It was the year that Andrew Brees. It was the year that no one wanted Cam. The year kind of like he had the bad. He only had like 3 rushing touchdowns.
Turned out to be an MVP.
Yeah, it was great. 2015.
Yeah,
good year for me.
Yeah,
that was the last really good year of fantasy I had. The last 3 have been kind of shitty. Ever since I bet on Carolina to win that Super Bowl, it's all been downhill for me. Because that was the year that Mike Evans I drafted in the 1st round, and he was like the best fantasy receiver.
That's right. Yeah, you were all over Evans. Evans is another guy that when we talked earlier about Kelsey or Evans, like people forget Evans was 3rd last year in yards for wideouts. I mean, he's a beast.
He's very good.
I just don't feel like Kelsey can get 1,500 yards.
I don't need him to get 14 because, like, if you prorate it to what he actually
120 catches.
Like,
no, that would be crazy.
I know it's not even that, but like 1,400 yards for a receiver is like
okay, you're going to
1,050 at tight end.
Sure.
Yeah, like that's the scale that we're working with for what it means at that position versus the rest of the position. Like the year that you had LaDainian Tomlinson. When he broke the touchdown record, like he outscored every other running back by like 200 points. Yeah. If you had him, you won. And if Kelsey has one of let's say Kelsey has his best year this year, and you have Kelsey, you're probably going to win your league.
Yep.
You can have the shittiest running backs going because you have the best guy at one position.
Yeah, and there's a huge guy.
Look at all the people that went to the finals by just having Mahomes last year.
Yeah,
because he outscored every other quarterback by so much. He was game genie at quarterback.
Yeah,
and Kelsey seems like he could be that guy this year to me.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, Mahomes was free last year in drafts. In some leagues, you probably picked him up off the waiver wire.
Yeah, or drafted him as your not that we advocate drafting backup quarterbacks, but some people did.
Well, last year Big Ben was in the 16th.
Cuss drafted in our keeper league. Cuss drafted Mahomes in the 12th round, and I forget who his starter was, but he was making a run at the playoffs. And we have a rule in our keeper league that if you don't play the player for the year, you get to redshirt him and keep him you get the extra year, like it doesn't count as a year as a keep, and you get to keep him in the same round. But if you had played him, he'd be a 10th round keeper this year, and you would get to keep him for 3 years. But Cuss never played him. Cuss was making a run for the championship and decided never to play Mahomes, then missed the playoffs.
Oh my goodness! Like that's a
that's
great
a very
example.
classic Cuss move.
Yeah, that's classic Cuss.
He had Cuss. Was it Drew Brees? It was someone it was a name quarterback.
Yeah.
Who he had. that he spent like a pretty high pick on.
Yeah, and that's a classic move of people that are in keeper leagues and dynasty leagues of looking ahead. Like
Just
you
win
need
now.
to win now and be in that moment of winning now. Absolutely.
Yeah, like you
Just do it.
Like if you're trash, which I was, I
Yeah,
I
you
went
can
3
sell.
games last year. I sold everything off.
And that's what you should do.
I'm set up very well for this year.
Yeah.
Got some good keepers. I got like 3 first-round draft picks.
Yeah.
I'm good to go.
Yeah.
But I had no chance of winning last year.
Yeah.
Coming off an undefeated season. When you mortgage everything for an undefeated season,
It hurts
you
you in the
might not
future.
be great the next year.
I play the same way. I play keeper dynasty leagues the same way. I'm in it to win now. I don't care. I'll give Foray first round picks, whatever.
And it's also football. Like we do that draft in March. And think about how much, if we did the draft, let's say we did the draft in August, not March, how different that draft would look like for football.
You know,
It's insane.
yeah,
But now you're going to play in 4 years in advance? Come on.
no chance.
Anyone else you want to talk about here? Or do we, Darius Geis.
Yeah,
Don
he's a good
Geis.
person to talk about. I'm not
I
touching
like him. I think I'm going to be dry. It seems like everyone
Really?
hates him. Like, what's there to hate? That Adrian Peterson is there?
No.
They're going to be better with Haskins.
Well, they drafted a guy. AP's there, I guess. They are going to be better with Haskins, but the team still's going to suck. Like, offensively, they're going to be brutal.
That's fine, but so is Josh Jacobs. He's going to be on a shitty team.
But I don't know if Geis is going to get 20 touches a game. Like, Chris Thompson's still going to hang around, going to catch a couple balls out of the
Thompson
backfield.
might not be ready for the beginning of the year.
Well, Geis?
I would assume so. We got hurt last preseason.
I know, but I haven't seen this
Remember,
guy, like,
remember we saw
play.
that Twitter video of him leapfrogging tables, and then all of a sudden he was out.
Yeah, you're right. That
But,
was pretty impressive.
People were fucking fired up for him last year to draft, and then he got hurt, and he went away. Now we're not. It's not like he blew out his Achilles. He hurt his knee. Guys come back from knee problems.
I guess it's the fact that they brought back AP and they drafted a guy. I think that makes me feel like maybe they're slightly concerned in Washington.
It could be that Washington doesn't have a fucking clue.
Well, that's definitely the case. They don't have a clue, and yeah, Haskins is going to be better, but they still don't have. I mean, they drafted Haskins' boy. I'm sure the offense is going to be a little bit better, but I think it's fair. Like where you have them is fair. You're really rolling the dice on all these guys. Like
Yeah, they're all dice rolls.
they're all like Freeman, Fournette, and Geis. They're all the same.
I think I might have Kerryon Johnson too low. Because out of all these guys, the Henrys and Aaron Jones potentially too, like they should probably be up on this other tier with Geis and Drake and Fournette and those guys. Because I can see them being the guy. And of all these guys of Henry, Jones, Michelle, Kerryon Johnson, Lindsey, Montgomery, Sanders, Miller will be the guy, but no one fucking cares. Coleman, Carson. Like if you told me that Aaron Jones, oh yeah, he plays 90% of the snaps, and that's just the way it is from week 1, I
Yeah.
can see that.
Yeah.
And the same thing with Kerryon Johnson. Like, oh yeah, we've decided that our 5 running back committee no longer works. We're just going to go with this guy.
C.J. Anderson.
Of course.
Yeah, I mean they want to run the ball. Patricia wants to run the ball there in Detroit, and Kerryon looked really good last year. So
It's the same situation as like Drake with me.
I would rather Mac
Like,
though.
why wouldn't it? Yeah, I would much rather. Mac's not even on that tier. He's on the tier above.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I would rather Mac than yeah. Okay. Yeah. Carry on.
Yeah. But like Drake. Like I feel like Drake, Kerryon, Aaron Jones, they're all kind of in the similar boat.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm
Got
too
you.
down on Jones. Where would you have Jones?
Yeah. I think Jones is just for me right behind Mac.
Oh, really? So you'd have him like
Yeah.
above Freeman.
Yeah.
Really?
I'm concerned
And
with
Fournette.
Freeman.
There's that fly again. He didn't die.
Fournette I have ahead.
God,
Fournette
shit.
I have ahead of Mac. Fournette I'm giving Fournette the benefit of the doubt. I don't know why, because he's a head case.
Maybe he'll try to fight the coach.
Yeah, he's been
Fight Nick
suspended
Foles.
for fighting guys. I mean, they suspended him one time for I don't even know what, if they even said why he was suspended. Maybe missing team practice or a team photo or something. They suspended him. But I think there's just a lot of upside there with Fournette. I mean, he's basically scored a touchdown every single game he's played. And if he's healthy, they'll give him the ball 20 plus times. But Jones, I think we know now, like, he can pass block. That's all anybody said last year. No, it's Jamal Williams because Aaron Jones can't pass block. Well, Aaron Jones was Pro Football Focus, had him graded pretty high as a pass blocker, and he took over, and there's no Mike McCarthy there anymore to make
and
us scratch our heads.
Look, like
Jamal Williams also sucks.
there's a certain things when it comes to football analytics. Football analytics people will never say this, but like grading pass blocking from running backs because you're not sure what they're supposed to be doing.
Right.
Like, are they supposed to be running a route and
Yeah.
they decided to come back and chip?
That's
they,
fair.
They've blown off the route, but they were at a position to try to block in the first place. Like,
Yeah.
that stuff seems very difficult to quantify. I'm glad these numbers exist because I do
Yeah.
think they point us in the right direction.
Yeah.
But I don't think that they're just the end all be all. Like
No,
some
it's
people
fair,
point
but
to.
at least he
No,
graded good,
Yeah,
I suppose.
it's much better than him being rated badly.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think, he was rated badly the year before. But maybe it turns out that maybe he was fine.
Yeah.
It's just he wasn't asked to do or trained to do what he was supposed to do. And then, hey, sometimes these coaches actually do stuff. They coach you up.
They coach
and
you
teach
up.
you how to do
They
things.
teach you how to do things. Yeah, maybe Mike McCarthy wasn't that bad at all. Who knows?
Yeah, or maybe he was just the worst.
Yeah, he probably was just the worst. There is a back in this range that we didn't talk about who I like, and that's David Montgomery. I do like Montgomery. If you look at Jordan Howard,
Sure, but like, how much does Cohen eat away from him? And they still have Mike Davis.
they do have Mike Davis.
Remember that loser that we saw on Thanksgiving? Mizel Senor? Like, who the hell is this guy?
Who was that
I
guy?
don't know.
Yeah, we were watching together and looking at each other, wondering why we didn't have him in DraftKings, but I'd never really even heard of him.
I don't even know if he was on DraftKings
Yeah.
that week.
He probably wasn't. So the reason with Montgomery, and you're right, yeah, Davis is hanging around, but Jordan Howard, is inefficient as he was, and I think he has the third most rushing yards in the NFL since he entered, behind Zeke and Gurley.
Sure, but
A lot of touches. He got a lot of touches.
It just feels like people have blown their load on Montgomery already.
Fourth round is fine. I'll say that. Fourth round as your RB
Like he's
2
going
or 3.
Yeah, he's going pick 51 right now, and someone in every draft is going to reach on him. So yeah, fourth round, and I'll wager he ends up going at the end of the third. By the time
I would
drafts
rather have him than Michelle and Jake's boy Mark Ingram. I know you would as well.
Yeah, I would definitely rather have him over Mark Ingram. But
Yeah.
like, if you can get
Or Lindsey too.
Yeah, I can do Lindsey. He's in a weird tier kind of to himself, but I think that he'll end up with the Aaron Joneses and the Derrick Henrys of the world and Kerryon Johnsons by the time this ends.
Yeah.
And I just don't know. It still feels like a lot of risk for a guy who might play 50% of the snaps.
Yeah. I think they're going to give him. I mean, I like Nagy in the offense that he runs, and I like the fact that they drafted this guy. And he's a beast. He can do. I mean, Cohen's not going to go anywhere. Yeah, he's going to catch balls, but they gave Howard a ton of touches. I mean, he was top 5 in red zone touches. He was top 10 in touches altogether without even really catching balls, just touches. So in carries, he was getting a ton of them. So I think he'll get a lot of usage. Michelle's probably not a guy that I want to touch, but if he's going to fall down,
that's the thing. Where's he going to end up going?
If he's going to fall to like the 8th or 9th round, I'll take a shot on him.
Yeah,
Didn't we talk about him this time last year with a knee injury?
Yeah, and then we were just like, yeah, screw that guy.
Yeah, he's not even going to hang around. He's not going to be there in preseason. He's missing the OTAs. Like
I think he missed week
Rex
1
Burkhead.
too.
We want Rex Burkhead.
Yeah, Rex Burkhead. He's great.
But Michelle,
I think you know what? I think I might just
avoid him altogether.
Just avoid that entire situation. Just say, I want James White. That's it. If I don't get James White, then I'm staying away.
Yeah, because White's always going to be involved.
Like White, Edelman.
Yeah. Safe.
Edelman is White, but I want to draft White and Edelman.
Yeah. You know what you're getting with those guys.
Yeah, like they're the only two that I can basically count on. Like N'Keal Harry is there, and like there's already reports that he's the one guy who has negative reports against him. And that could be complete nothing.
It could be nothing.
But like they used Philip Dorsett last year, who's not good, but they used him.
Yeah.
He was fine. Like, why wouldn't they just use him again?
The Harry thing, and this people are
Harry!
Murph, Harry! the Harry thing, and people are going to probably be all over me for this because they're not the same type of players. But do you remember when Aaron Dobson was getting all that hype with the Patriots?
Oh, yeah.
He was
second round pick.
garbage.
Yeah, he was trash.
He was trash. And I get it. They're not the same. But Patriots wide receivers that are not named Julian Edelman tend to disappoint.
And Josh Gordon could be back at some point. That's not out of the realm of possibility.
Especially if he's playing catch in the backyard with Dylan Brady.
Debo Samuel, Jamison Crowder.
I like Crowder.
The guy can't stay on the field.
He can't. Well, he
And they
definitely couldn't.
and they already have a better slot receiver in Quincy Enunwa.
But why did they?
I don't know, because it was the stupid Jets. They gave Le'Veon Bell like $100 million.
I know, Le'Veon Bell, and then Gase says like basically I never wanted anything.
I'd like
do
to
with
trade
Le'Veon
him.
Bell.
Who would like his salary? Le'Veon Bell.
Rough.
He smells.
Yeah, and Gase has never been a guy to do the right thing, like give the ball to Drake a bunch of times or Ajayi a bunch of times.
Yeah.
No, he never did that.
Imagine if Bell's in a committee with like.
Didn't they just recently sign Powell?
They just re-signed Powell. They have someone.
Elijah McGuire.
Yeah, they have Lizzie McGuire. The Adventures of.
Oh man, there's going to be some chaos in New York if Bell's only touching the ball 10, 12 times a game.
I might have to move Bell down my rankings.
He's a wild card.
He just
for
worries
sure.
me. Is
Yeah,
the thing. And
we
like,
should be a little.
And you
worried.
have to draft him in the first round if you're going to take him. Like,
you do.
I'd rather have Kelsey.
I'd definitely rather have a wide receiver. I really would. I'd rather one of those top 5 wideouts.
Would I almost want Mixon? Now I'm starting to rethink this entire thing. Blowing it all up.
No, I don't think so. I think he'd rather Bell.
Mixon was really good.
He was good.
And he gets all the... And Gio's...
He does.
dead, or
Gio's dead.
dying, or something.
He's probably going to be one of the guys who gets traded or released.
Well, they drafted
two.
but they're just like Gio
They're
Bernard.
just like
they're
Gio,
nothing
yeah.
like Joe Mixon.
Yeah.
Gentleman Joe Mixon.
Joe Mixon's awesome. Yeah, he's fantastic. He's great. The offense is going to suck.
Not
though.
a great guy in real life, but on the football field.
Yeah, we'll take
not
that
bad.
back. He's not awesome, but he's a good running back. The thing with Bell, like he's not gonna flirt with Pittsburgh numbers. Like, he's not gonna get 100 targets, is he?
I don't know. I went and looked at it last year. I think the total, all the running backs combined on the Jets had like 48 targets or something.
Which is strange because like Powell, they used Powell in that role before, like towards the end of the season, getting a lot of catches. If you prorated that,
The year before, but
yeah,
they didn't last year.
Then they didn't last year.
He's not dump off Darnold. He is soon to be a fat man Darnold.
Yeah.
Bad genetics.
Bell's a wild card. Look at that, 107 targets, 85 catches.
But that's with Ben Roethlisberger.
That's with Big
That's
Ben.
with
That's with a
Juju.
good
That's with
offense.
Antonio Brown. That's with the good offensive line. I believe that was with Todd Haley if it was 2 years ago.
Yeah, it was.
Then,
Yeah,
like,
I know.
and you play 95% of the snaps. Let's say you
And
only
he
play
hasn't played
70%
in-
of the snaps, and they don't do dump offs to you. Then what do your numbers really look like?
And he hasn't played in over a year. And the last time he
And
played,
let's not forget, there was always rumblings about how Le'Veon Bell was a terrible goal line back.
yeah,
Remember that? I mean, that went away
yeah,
because goal line work is kind of random.
yeah.
It's scoring touchdowns is a very random thing from time to time. You want that opportunity,
Yeah.
but maybe there was a reason that they didn't turn around and hand him the ball off all the time. Maybe his like pause and then go running style wasn't great in clusters. It was great at the 25-yard line.
It's a great point because that's how he runs.
And-
stutter steps.
And guess what? The Jets' offensive line not as good as the Steelers.
Not as good as the Steelers. They don't have as good as a quarterback. Yeah, I mean,
Cuss would disagree.
would he ever? I have some concerns about the Steelers' offense altogether too.
That was sort of the Juju thing. Like
I had Juju as a bust in the Athletic and Jake's all over me, but I didn't want to cop out and pick Allen Robinson or one of them. But
I mean, that's
it's a good conversation because
yeah.
what's he going to do? Is he going to play in the slot? Fine, you want him to play in the slot.
I don't think he's going to play in the slot. Who are they going to play on the outside? Moncrief and no one?
That's my problem with Juju is all of a sudden you're taking away Antonio Brown.
But
he's going to get top coverage.
Yeah, he's going to get top coverage. But just because he's so good out of the slot doesn't mean he can't be really good on the outside.
It doesn't. You're right. It doesn't mean that, but we've yet to see him have that top coverage and be the guy. Obviously, in the slot, there's guys like him and Keenan Allen who benefit. They're great pass catchers. They're great route runners. They're a mismatch in the slot. Dante Moncrief has never really been able to stay healthy. Washington is somebody that we're just getting excited about because he's potentially the 2 in Pittsburgh and Big Ben. And then they drafted another guy, I think Deontay Johnson, like maybe nothing special either.
But they
Because they said Moncrief is the sure number 2.
But they love drafting receivers who turn out to be good.
Right, man.
Always.
Sanders, they always find somebody who...
Yeah, Mike Wallace.
Yeah. They always seem to find somebody. But I feel like... I don't know how much Juju's going to improve from last year.
Listen,
that's my concern.
This is sort of a debate that Jake and I had, and it was basically, would you draft Antonio Brown or Juju? I was like, give me Antonio Brown.
Me too.
Like, I don't understand why people are down on Antonio Brown. Yes, he's leaving Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
But, like, he's probably going to lead the league in targets.
Yeah. They're going to use him. And they're going to be down a ton.
Yeah, they're going to be down a ton. They have Tyrell Williams.
Yeah.
And that's it, basically.
Yeah.
And Waller. Hardly knew her.
Is Seth there? Roberts? I don't think
No,
he is.
I believe Seth
left.
Roberts
Did he go to Detroit?
I think he's on the Bills. The
I
Bills
don't know
have
if he's on
like
the
every
Bills.
no, they have Andre Holmes, or they had Andre Holmes, who used to be Seth Roberts. Where is he?
I
at?
think he went to Detroit. Maybe not though.
He's on the Ravens.
He's on Baltimore.
Seth Tymir Roberts on the Baltimore Ravens.
Okay. Yeah, I mean Juju. I honestly
Listen,
personally
Juju's
would rather have. I'd rather take the back where Juju's going,
Okay.
and then take Thielen. I think Thielen and Juju's numbers are going to be pretty similar.
You got a Thielen?
I got a Thielen, and why not? Remember what he did at the start of the year? Yeah, sure, he's probably not going to get 100 yards in the first 10 games of the season, but he gonna
really
flirt
petered
with
out
that.
towards the end.
He did, but so did the offense in general altogether. Like they just didn't have a run game, and Cousins looked awful. But I think if you give them a run game, they have Cook if he's healthy. Maybe it is a big if.
If we had to pick like a league-winning pick here, and it could go disastrous, like that's the one thing I do enjoy drafting, and that's why I kind of like the Kelsey pick as high as I do, because that could be a league winner. It could be a league loser because he's not as good. Then you miss all the other good players. But if you're just gonna kind of go out on a stand, I feel like Delvin Cook could be a league winner.
He could be, yeah.
But he could get hurt week 1, and you're just like, oh, fantastic.
That's the range.
But he could be with his work, with his workload,
Yeah.
he's one of the few that could see 90, 85, 90% of the snaps.
Yeah.
He receives out of the backfield.
Yeah.
He's going to be their goal line back. Their passing offense should be better than it was last year,
Yeah.
especially if they run more play action, which on Twitter, Kirk Cousins said he's into.
Yeah.
That it just seems like volume plus talent. You just need the health to go along with it. That all of a sudden, out of all these guys, it feels like Dalvin Cook is the one we could be talking about next year as a top 3 running back.
Yeah.
Almost the same way that we talked about Christian McCaffrey last year, yet no one had the fucking guts to actually draft him like that.
Yeah.
And now there he is.
Yeah.
That Cook feels like he could be that guy.
You're right. McCaffrey was middle of the second round last year. I had a team with Kamara and McCaffrey. My wideout sucked because I drafted Hogan and Marv. But those two guys, it's the same thing. That's where he's going. Middle of the second, late second. Maybe people are scared in your league where he's all of a sudden a steal in the early third. Like that's very possible. So I like Minnesota's offense in general to take a step forward. You're talking about quarterbacks that you can just draft in the last round. Kirk Cousins is one of those guys. You can shrug your shoulders all you want and be like, Kirk Cousins sucks in real life. Fine. He sucks in real life. He's got 2 unbelievable weapons
and he also rushes for touchdowns weirdly.
He is sneaky on the ground.
And that's consistent between Washington and Minnesota now.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's very sneaky on the ground. He runs around a little bit. He's got 2 borderline wide receiver ones.
Yeah.
You can call them both wide receiver
He has
ones.
high-end wide receiver 2s.
Absolutely. And if you are banking on Cook, you should bank on Cousins. The offense is going to be more efficient, and Cook catches balls.
Load up on Vikings. Yeah, and if the Bears' defense isn't quite as good, it's not like the Lions' offense is anything special. The Packers' defense isn't.
It's nothing special. They've always been dominant.
But those are also teams that will get into a boat race with you.
Yeah.
Which is what you want.
Remember the game when they played the Rams? Like, let Kirk Cousins go. Remember that shootout? It was back and forth between him and Goff. It was like 100 and some odd points.
That was the best.
Besides the Rams and Chiefs.
The Rams and Chiefs is probably the best game of the year. That's probably the second best game of the year.
Yeah.
You know which was not? The Super Bowl.
Right.
Bad game.
Very bad. I was in Vegas falling asleep at that game. I'm done watching this game right now. How can the Rams not score a friggin' point?
Is there some Kazakhstani paintball I can bet on? Like, what else is on here?
Goodness, that was an awful Super Bowl. Yeah.
All right, you want to call it quits? I didn't kill the fly, although I feel like the fumes have not only seeped into me, they've seeped into like keeping the fly out of this general vicinity.
I'm feeling the fumes. I'm feeling the fumes. Yeah, man, it's been a pleasure. I love to talk football with you. Thanks for having me.
Tomorrow, America Day.
Ooh, that's a big day.
Happy America Day to everyone out there.
Yes.
We've already celebrated Canada Day.
We have. I don't celebrate the same American Day as Canada Day, but
I mean, I have a better chance of getting America Day off than I do Canada Day off.
I did not have Canada Day off.
I haven't taken a Canadian holiday off in like 8 years. My entire audience is American.
Exactly.
I work for American companies.
Same.
I mean, I own my own company, but I have
all
American clients. Like, why are you taking Monday off exactly? It's Canada Day.
With the Athletic producing some baseball podcasts over there and some football ones to come. They send out the email for the host to take the day off, America Day. They don't realize when Canada Day is, or if you want that day, you just I'll work it. It's all good.
It's fine.
Yeah,
I want my double pay, which they won't give you.
Nope.
But they expect you to work on it. They're like, "Oh, you're Canadian. You can work on Independence Day too." It's like, but I didn't get my day.
Wait,
off.
how does this work?
Yeah,
you take it.
Anyway, Chris Meaney at Chris Meaney, Twitter, Instagram.
Means well.
Oh, means well on Instagram.
Yes.
Chris Meaney was unavailable.
Yeah.
See, I like to be consistent across all social platforms.
Yeah, it makes most sense.
It's just easier. That way I can keep track of it.
Yeah, it really is.
So, Athletic, Fantrax, Quant Edge.
Yeah.
Anywhere else?
Yeah, I do a daily podcast with Joe Pizzapia, Line Star. It's a free podcast.
Joe Pizza.
Joe Pizza. Yeah.
Cam used to be all over that. Cam loves pizza.
Pizza, yeah.
Which is if you're unaware, because you're not in Toronto, is a pizza chain.
Yeah, pizza. They were giving out free pizzas at one point, I think the Raptor games and Jays games, but then the Raps got good.
Yeah, anytime the Raptors scored over 100 points at a home game, you get a free slice.
Yeah.
They got rid of
and then they got real good and they got rid of that. I think before it was the keg. I think at one point it was
free steak.
Yeah, if they had they allowed fewer than 60 points, which is absurd. But
you're giving away free.
Did it once?
You're also giving away free steak.
Yeah, for sure.
Not a slice of really shitty pizza.
I saw something recently that McDonald's lost $1.9 million on the fry giveaway from the Raptors recently because they were just scoring. But at the same time, you go in for fries, you're probably getting something else. So you really didn't lose a whole lot of money. And you're McDonald's, you're fine.
It's just an advertising cost.
Yeah.
It's like when you have those halftime things, like the half-court shots at halftime, like
Yeah.
$100,000 if you get it in. It's all insurance money.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't hurt.
No one's actually paying it out
it
besides
doesn't
insurance. Lloyd's of London is paying it out.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I'm Pat Mayo. You can follow me at the PME on the Twitter, the Instagram, and the Facebooks, as your parents probably call it. Talked about those giveaways at the beginning, but even if you forget what they were, just smash the like button anyway. Leave a review on the audio podcast. Follow me on Instagram. Those are the 3 ways that you can go do that. I'm going to have Garion and Kest on to really finalize these rankings probably next week. But until then, my rankings will be up on dkplaybook.com. If you hit the description, you can find all the positional breakdowns I did with our main man, Jake Seeley. Good guy, even though he doesn't listen or watch if he is not on it. But hey, it's not like I listen to your show or Jake's show either. So here we are. You should all go do that, by the way. All in sports. There, quick plug for Jake. I'm Pat Mayo. I'll see you next time.
Pat Mayo Experience! Experience!